We tend to think that for our lives to really change, something massive and dramatic has to happen. But what if I told you the real secret to completely transforming your future is hidden in those tiny, almost invisible choices you make every single day? Well, that's the powerful idea we're going to dive into right now.
I think we all know that feeling, right? You tell yourself, okay, tomorrow's a fresh start, but then the day just evaporates. You look around and it feels like everyone else is moving forward while you're just stuck in the same old loop. It's super frustrating and honestly, a really common place to find yourself.
And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. This is the core idea we're digging into. Every little choice you make, what you eat for breakfast, the first thought you have in the morning, how you react when you're stressed, it's like casting a vote for the person you're becoming. The best part? You're the one in the voting booth. You get to decide. So to make this idea really hit home, let's talk about a guy named Max. At 37, Max was the poster child for feeling completely and utterly stuck. He had this idea that, adults are supposed to have it all figured out, but there he was, sitting at his dining table, feeling like a total failure. His story is where we really begin to see how this kind of change is even possible. Okay, so where did Max even begin this huge turnaround? Not with his job, not with a gym, but right here, between his ears. This first stage is all about winning that inner game, because honestly, that's where everything else starts. He was basically at rock bottom, and out of just total desperation, Max made a really simple choice. He figured, if things can't possibly get any worse, what do I have to lose? So he decided to just experiment with a positive attitude, not by faking it, but by just observing his negative thoughts, kind of like watching clouds drift by, without letting them define who he was. And what's so cool about this is how practical it is. This isn't about pretending your problems don't exist. No way, it's about reframing them. See, the old thought, it's a total dead end, but the new one, that opens up possibilities. He was literally changing his internal story from I'm a failure to, okay, I'm working on a solution. Now, to keep this new mindset going, Max started celebrating tiny victories. I'm talking about stuff most of us would just blow right past, but for him, every little win was real, tangible proof that he could move forward. What this does, psychologically, is it creates this awesome positive feedback loop that just builds and builds his confidence, one little step at a time. Okay, so getting his thoughts in line was a huge first step, but it was really only half the battle. Max quickly figured out that his emotions were the next big frontier. For a long time, they'd been running the show, and not always for the better. And then this happened. It was a massive wake-up call, a huge, explosive fight with his wife, Irene, that started over something as silly as laundry on the floor. It blew up so fast that Irene just left. And in that awful silence, Max realized this wasn't about the clothes. Not at all. It was about all the anger he bottled up about his job, his money, his own feeling of failure. This is where he stumbled upon emotional intelligence. And look, it's not just some corporate buzzword. It's a real practical skill. It's being able to look at an emotion like anger and ask yourself, okay, what's really going on here? For Max, the anger was just a mask for his fear and his frustration. Understanding that, that's the whole key to responding in a way that actually helps. So he came up with this super simple 5-step plan. Think of it like an emotional emergency brake. Anytime he felt that wave of anger start to build, he'd run through these steps. And the goal here isn't to bottle up your feelings. It's to create just enough space to understand them. That way he could communicate honestly and start to actually heal his relationships. So now that his inner world was starting to make more sense, Max turned his focus to the outside. He started to intentionally design his daily life, turning his old, tired routines into a reflection of the person he actually wanted to be. He looked at his friend John, and the difference between them was just, whoa. It was night and day. John wasn't just lucky, he was consistent. All that energy and confidence, it was a direct result of his small, daily choices. And Max realized his own stress and exhaustion were built the exact same way, one bad choice at a time. The evidence was right there in front of him. So, what did Max do? He started small. He didn't go out and sign up for a marathon or anything crazy. He just started with a jog, woke up a little earlier, swapped that heavy breakfast for something lighter. These weren't massive, life-altering changes on their own. But day after day, they started to completely shift how he felt, both in his body and his mind. And this thought right here, the one he had while biking to work,
This is the magic moment. It's when the new thing you're doing stops feeling like a chore and actually starts feeling good. That's the reward. That's the positive feedback that makes a habit truly stick. All right, so starting new habits is one thing, but the real trick, as Max was about to find out, is making them stick around for the long haul. This is where he got smart and started creating actual systems to make sure these changes became a permanent part of his life.
And his first move? It was so simple, but wow, was it powerful. He just cleaned his room. He had this realization that his messy room was basically a perfect reflection of his messy mind. By creating physical order around him, he was sending a signal to his brain that it was time for some mental order too. At work, to battle that feeling of being totally overwhelmed, he started using this technique. Instead of staring at one giant scary to-do list, he broke his day into these small, manageable chunks. This completely changed the game. It gave his day a rhythm and a sense of accomplishment that kept him from burning out. And here's the absolute key to making this work. He put the most important stuff first. He gave his best energy right at the start of the day to the tasks that were going to make the biggest difference. Get those big wins early, and the rest of the day just feels easier. But this next habit, this might have been the most life-changing one of all for Max. He realized that for years, by saying yes to everything everyone asked of him, he was quietly saying no to his own goals and his own well-being. He started setting boundaries. He finally got it. Every time you say yes, you're paying for it with your time and energy. It was time to start investing in himself. So you see, Max's story is this incredible blueprint. It shows how your mindset, your emotions, your daily actions, and your systems all have to work together. But let's be real, the whole point of sharing his journey is to show you what's possible for you. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Your future isn't some destination you just magically arrive at. Nope. It is being built, brick by brick, right now, by the choices you make every day. Your destiny is literally being built by your habits. Look, Max's story proves you don't need some huge miracle to change your life. You just need to be consistent. His entire transformation started with one small, single choice. So now the question turns to you. What's it going to be? What will your first new habit be? What small choice are you going to make today to start rewriting your own story?